Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Write or Die Show. I am your host, Randi-lee. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking to Daemon Manx. If you have not already, hit that like and subscribe button. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Daemon Manx, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for having me today.
I am very excited. So, where are you joining us from?
I'm joining you from the sunny state of New Jersey. uh, yeah, way up here on the northern East Coast.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm close to the Buffalo border, so
You're a bit more north than myself. So,
yeah.
yeah,
But I still think your winters are worse based on what I see on TV.
they can be. It really depends, and they vary so much. Like last year was nothing, but the year before was just a blanket of snow repeatedly.
Oh geez, yeah. I know it's so weird how like sometimes you're like, wow, this is the most mild winter ever. And then sometimes you're like, you can stop snowing now, anytime.
Although after this heat that we've been getting hit with, I'm looking forward to some snow.
Somebody said that to me yesterday. Who was that? I don't remember. Somebody said to me yesterday. I'm like, no, I will never be okay with that.
You're not
I will
okay with
take
that?
heat all day, every day.
You see, I lived in Florida for a while, and there's a thing is too much.
Nope.
No, there isn't. Okay, well, I stand corrected.
Lies. Um, people when I interview people from like more south states, because I'm in Canada, they're always like, "Oh, so do you like skiing and skating and stuff?" I'm like, "No, winter is an inside time." So,
Yeah, well, extreme winter, yeah, it's you stay in close to the heater or the fireplace, and then when
mm-hmm.
you're in the other extreme, in Florida, it was a rush from air conditioning in the house to air conditioning in the car for
Right.
me because I
Is
I
Florida
would
like super
go.
humid?
It is, and
Okay.
I would sweat in the shower. It was so hot. Like I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh my
See,
God, why
humid
do I
and heat are
bother?
different because we get a lot of humidity here too, and humid and heat are different. I will take heat all day long, not a super fan of humid.
Yeah, I don't. I you know what? It's got to be like spring or fall for me for that
That's
humidity
chilly.
to break. I love autumn. I'm an autumn boy.
I mean, I
Yeah.
was born in October, so
Oh, okay.
I like it for that.
What day?
The third.
Oh, okay. All right. So
And my kid was also an October baby on the 28th.
excellent. Very influential people in my life have all been born in October.
Ah, well, I am now an influential person in your life.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get to the actual interview. So tell us about yourself.
So my name is Daemon Manx. My pen name is Daemon Manx because, of course, my parents weren't cool enough to name me Daemon Manx, but that's the name that I chose for my authorship. I write speculative fiction. I dabble in the horror genre with mystery suspense, supernatural, and paranormal elements to it. I've been a musician in my previous life.
Hmm.
Still am, I still like to play, but it's not as driving of a passion as it is anymore. I have been a carpenter. I've been a restaurateur. I've been on the game show Wheel of Fortune.
Really?
Yes,
I'm
I
so
have.
jealous. I used to watch the show all the time with my mom. I'm so
It was so much fun. And in an infamous act, I was in a motor vehicle accident with Ronald Reagan's limousine, like seconds after he got out of the vehicle. Um,
wow.
yeah, so that's a story probably for another day, but
Maybe. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll see.
we'll see if we get there. Yeah, that's
Okay.
me in a nutshell. A little this, a little of that.
Yeah. I'm sure we're gonna get to know a lot more about you. That's the plan. All right, so let's dive into the meat and potatoes of the interview. What mental health are we going to talk about today?
You know, I've run the gamut on that. Of course, I've dealt. I've dealt with depression and anxiety in myriad ways. Anxiety still plagues me with a really heavy dose of imposter syndrome. Um, Throughout most of my young adult life, into a good portion of my adult life, struggled with addiction, serious addiction, and that my addiction with opiates certainly, now I know it does stem from a really this imposter syndrome, this feeling of inadequacy and insecurity. Because certainly I had that happy family life growing up. Some of my counselors would say, yeah, no, there's some deep rooted trauma in there. I don't know if I agree with that, but because everybody has trauma, and not everyone becomes an addict. My addiction led me to serve a rather extensive prison sentence.
Okay.
So,
All right. So I'm going to pause you there
yeah,
and
yeah.
let's take us way back. So we're definitely going to need 2 episodes for this story. I'm seeing it now. But take us back to, let's start at the beginning then. All right. So when did you start using opioids?
You know what? This is an interesting story. So I was actually, when I was 10 years old, I was hit by a car while I was riding my bicycle.
Oh.
And uh, I broke my femur. I chipped up a bunch of my vertebrae, and I had severe head injury.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
oh, look at me now. I'm so much better. But um,
But still
so
at 10 years old. Oh my
yeah, so that was
gosh.
a very traumatic experience. And back then, this was in the 70s, because I'm kind of old. Uh, but back then they gave you drugs when you had head injuries,
Yeah.
because we really didn't know a lot. So there were some really deep, um, traumatic dreams that I had during the first 2 weeks of
Mm.
of the head injury and the concussion and the drugs that were being fed to me. And it was very, like, I can still recall those dreams to this day.
Wow. So
Yeah.
very vivid.
Yeah, I've even written about it quite a bit.
Okay.
And yeah, like there was this sound, a gnawing sound like inside my head. And I don't know if it was like the swelling of my brain against my skull, but
Hmm.
to me it was like the sound of styrofoam, like when you took a wet styrofoam and you rub your fingers
Okay. Like
against
a
that. Yeah,
yeah.
right in the center of my head. And that would continue and continue until I woke up. And then I'd be like, where am I? Oh my God. And then I'd pass out again. And that would
Mm.
happen for about 2 weeks while I was, in the initial recovery states. And I
Yeah.
know now that a lot of what I was feeling then was opioids, the effect of opioids, because when in high school or whatever, I would have a tooth cavity or something, or they drill and here's some codeine or whatever. Like for most people, there's like, oh, I felt horrible when
Hmm.
I took that. No, no, I did not. Like there's never been like that doesn't work for me. It's always been, wow, this is really what I've been looking for my whole life.
Oh, okay.
So every time I had been given it, it was like this euphoric recall of like, wow, I'm those missing pieces of whoever I am seem to fit into place when opioids were introduced to my system.
Oh, wow.
So, that brings you to later in life when the opioid epidemic started hitting in the early 2000s.
Hmm.
And, at that point, I was married. I had a business. We were on to our second home.
Oh,
Things
wow.
were really good, So,
Yeah.
functional life should be good, but, something was still missing. And that missing was inside of me.
Yeah.
And I was,
So I'm gonna pause you there
yeah,
too,
please do.
because I think that's an important statement that you just said. Missing was inside of me. And I think for a lot of people that have an addiction, that's that's just it. It's a piece inside that's missing. Something is going on inside, but we're trying to fill it with something outside, right? So it's just I just loved how you said it, and so I just wanted to pause and just kind of reiterate that point that you made.
Yeah, and that's exactly it too, because even if you read it in like the literature from 1939 written in Alcoholics Anonymous, it's always, there was a part of us that was missing that could only be filled when we took comfort in the bottle,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't make claims to say how it is for everyone, but
No,
a
just yourself.
lot of people who I have talked with, sharing our own experiences, we do have a lot in common.
Exactly. And that's so I've never done drugs because my older brother was very much into them. And even now I go to a pain clinic every week and they do give me needles for nerve blockers. And we've been talking about what kind of medications can we do for this pain. And the only option that I'm left with is opioids. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Not until I'm bedridden, not until I'm completely, utterly bedridden do I want to do that because I'm scared that I'm going to be addicted to them. And even my pain doctor's like, it's a very last resort. We don't want to, but like the other two options I can't take because I've already got other kinds of medication I'm taking. So the interaction I can't do. Um, so we're kind of like, all right, well, I guess we'll just keep going with the needles up my spine every week and go from there. Um, but so for myself, I haven't done it, but I have family members, like I said, my brother, and in college, I did um my placement at a drug and alcohol recovery house, and so and it was all males. So the guys there very much they would share their stories if we were like in a group session or whatever. And yeah, a lot of it's that filling a void of something missing, of something else. And I think that's what my brother was doing too. I say was. So for those who have not watched my very emotional episode last year, go back and watch Loving an Addict, that episode. I don't know what number it was, but that was the title I gave it. And that takes you through my brother died last year of a drug overdose.
I'm
So
sorry.
thank you. So it was that filling a void, I think, for him as well. Um, but yeah, so anyways, continue.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad to hear that the method that you're taking to try to get out of the pain you're in is working for you.
It's
And
making life substantially better.
that's good. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess you take it in incrementally to see what works for you. I think that, when it comes to, I understand your concern with like, should you take that next step into where
Yeah.
you actually have to take medication to alleviate the pain, you're afraid of the addiction. And I think addiction is a predisposition.
Yeah.
I think most of us, who do tend to go that way, we're predisposed to do so because I've never been one to do anything, you know, half measures avail me nothing.
Yeah.
I am all in with whatever it might have been, even, to see someone at a bar who would have a half a drink and put it down. I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, no, that's alcohol abuse. That you are did not finish your drink.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So in college more this happened. And yeah, you'd have like half a drink, be like, you better drink that or it's alcohol abuse. And like when did alcohol become the drug that's okay for everyone?
Which is crazy because out of the when detoxing from alcohol It's one of the with few withdrawals that you really could die from.
Right?
You know,
Yes.
alcohols and benzodiazepines, like that withdrawal will kill you.
Yeah.
Um, heroin, you're just going to be really ugly, and you're going to be miserable, but you're going to get through it.
Yeah.
Uh, but alcohol will kill you, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, talk about a substance that's responsible for countless deaths and destroying so
Yeah.
many families and lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
don't.
every middle-aged wife on TV has to have a bottle of wine. They take their bottle of wine out after work because they're so stressed. Oh, I need a glass of wine, deal with my kids, right? Like it's so in our faces with alcohol is the answer. It's good, it's fine for you. But the reality is quite the opposite.
It really is, and it was a good 50 years before they actually realized, hey, you know, maybe we're doing a disservice by showing everybody smoking all the time. I
Right?
mean, it
Yes.
took 50 years of research to figure out that cigarettes were killing everybody. You know,
Now people got lollipops in their mouths and
yeah,
TV,
it
toothpicks.
it definitely takes a little bit of development and figuring things out, but
Mm,
I don't know. You make it legal and then it's got that label on it that, oh, okay, now it's safe.
yeah.
Well, now they're marijuana is the next one. It's legal now, so
Yep.
it's safe.
Yeah.
And
And
I was growing up, I was the biggest advocate for hey, legalize marijuana, it's gonna change the world. And yeah, but now, I'm this Halloween I'll be celebrating 10 years sobriety.
woo!
Yeah, thank you.
Hooray!
And I don't really have that same opinion of marijuana anymore. Um,
Yes. I don't know what it's like where you are. So it's legal here in Canada now and as well. And there are so many cannabis shops opened up in where I live. So I do not live in a giant city. Like it's not big. It's 50,000 people, I think. There are so many freaking cannabis shops. Like you can walk from one to the other. And I'm like, this is like how really? I'm just very surprised that there's that many of them opening.
yeah, well, it's like liquor stores now.
I think
They're
there's
all
more
over.
cannabis stores than liquor stores, to be honest.
I think there's a lot more money to be made off of it.
Perhaps,
Uh,
perhaps.
well, it could be.
Yeah,
Um, it's a business. It's a big business now.
yeah.
And you go into Manhattan now, and they've got trucks on just about on every corner where you go up and buy a joint or a blunt or whatever, and just take it and walk down the street and smoke at will. So it's out there if that's what you're
Yeah,
looking for. Yeah,
I know. So, anyways, continue with your story.
yeah. So I was doing really well. Well, what I would say on the surface, I was doing really well. Um, and that's it because shortly after 9/11, my wife and I, we decided we were going to move out of the tri-state area and
Okay.
go and build a house in Florida. Um, and fortunately, she had a job where she worked out of the house and it did paid well. So she
Okay.
just transitioned to that. I had always been working as like a handyman and I had a good business up here in the north. So I gave that over to my partner, and we moved to Florida into a brand new house with a pool on a lake.
Mm.
And she's working, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna go to the beach today. I guess I'm gonna go fishing today.
Yeah.
Um, and there was only so much fishing and going to the beach and doing nothing really all that productive that I could do.
Yeah.
And before I had left a part of my identity up here in the north when I moved to Florida. So
Mm.
we were down there with her family, and they were very tight unit. And she was now the breadwinner, where I had always been the provider.
It's a big change. So oftentimes it's the man that is the breadwinner, and it is a big change. So when my husband and I, were out of college, he actually went back because he became diabetic and then couldn't do what he was trying to do. And so, anyways, he went back, became a mechanic. So during that time, though, I was the one that made all the money. And I say all the money, it was not that much, but it was paying the bills. And so I was the breadwinner at the time, which was fine. And now, though, because of just life situations and everything, I had to take time off of work and do stuff around the house and with the kids and whatever. And now he's the breadwinner, which is cool. I'm always like, hey, you're my sugar daddy. It's a great joke, but it's weird not having my own money. Like I make a little bit now, right? Like I make some, but it feels so weird because I've been working since I was 13 years old. So it's such a change, like you said, in your identity. I totally relate to that. It's so different. And my husband's always like, well, if you need money, like just tell me. Like his money's my money. It's not separated at all. But I'm just like, it's weird. It feels weird.
Yeah, it is weird. And I come from a family where I was bred with that um, archaic belief that, that's the man's job, you
Yeah,
know. Well, and it's so rooted in our society that,
it is.
so that was always deep seated. So this really spurred on my insecurity and my
Yeah.
feeling less than. And I started getting a couple jobs with a guy playing two guitars in the bars on the weekends down there in the tiki bars and
What
whatnot.
kind of music did you play?
Well, there at the time it was a lot of islandy, easygoing stuff from
Nice.
Jimmy Buffett, Bob Marley, Jack Johnson. Um, when we, throwbacks from the day as well. A little Hank Williams and
Okay, okay.
a
I like it. I like it.
little country, a little bit of this, a
I love
little
me some
American
country.
Pie, a little Kenny
Country pie.
Chesney, and that whole what you would want to hear if you were drinking a margarita on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I'm getting those vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where we were at, and OxyContin was starting to make
Mm,
its appearance down in Florida, really
okay.
big. And I took to it like a duck to water. Like I remember, like my friend offered it one day, and then it was just like there wasn't a day that I wasn't using it, and
Okay.
it escalated like really fast. Um, it might have been like a 4 or 5 year period um, where I was using it, but it grabbed onto me like, and there was no turning back. Like I remember the feeling like either the first or the second time, and I was like, yeah, this is it. This is what I was missing. Again,
Okay.
that
Yep.
feeling of ease and comfort that whatever part of me had not been right, that this drug had filled it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I quickly became unrecognizable. I lied. I was taking money off of my advances off my credit cards to finance my addiction. I
Yeah.
visiting the shady doctors to get prescriptions for it, and no matter
Mm.
how much I would get, it was not enough. So
Okay.
so that led to and you know what? Like the more I did, the more depressed I got, and the more
Isn't
depressed I got,
that
the more I did.
interesting? That is so another really good point that I'm gonna pause you and just reiterate this to the audience listening. you're trying to fill a void. You're trying to feel better and full, like whole. And yet you take this and it actually just makes the hole bigger. Like just it doesn't fill it. It's still there. It's still empty. It's very interesting because it is this cycle, right? Of I want to feel better, so I'm taking this, but then it doesn't make me feel better. But I'm going to try it again anyways. But then it doesn't work. But I'm going to try it again anyways. And it really is you really are being insane because the definition is doing the same thing, expecting different results. And so continuously taking the same thing, knowing that it's not actually going to fix it, but you're hoping that it's going to fix it. It's yeah, you're literally doing an insane action. And it's not uncommon for people with addiction. That is the cycle. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, in that point, it's like if I didn't do it, I was sick.
You were so addicted, your body needed it.
Yeah, my body needed it. Those brain receptors had, exponentially grown.
Yes.
So like I just could not fill that. So, if the wind blew the wrong way, I was in pain. Um,
Oh,
it's just and addicts aren't we're not tough guys, like a lot of you read A Million Little Pieces and he claims to be this tough guy, that
mm-hmm.
that is not us. Like the rain falls on us and oh, why is the rain hitting me? It's against me, and it hurts, just
Yeah.
because it's and I don't ever now remember it being good. I remember it always being bad and feeling sick. And that's when I start I started losing everything. Um,
Okay.
I didn't lose it though. You know what? I gave it away. I gave it away one piece at a time. I sold it for pennies on the dollar. I became unrecognizable to my family and my wife, so it ended in divorce. I moved out and we said our goodbyes, although it killed us both to do it.
Yeah.
But I was toxic for her and toxic for myself even. But
Mm-hmm.
I
You can't
mean,
leave yourself.
but I tried. So I said, you know what, a geographic location is what I need to do. So I moved back to New Jersey and brought myself with me. Um, so, the same jerk that got on the turnpike in Florida got off in New Jersey, only there was no drug of choice to be found up here.
Okay.
So, at like 45, I moved into my father's basement and quickly found a substitute for my drug of choice, which was heroin.
Ugh. Yep.
And that was an even quicker descent. Um, so I had gotten it into myself that this is how it will end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to chase this and take it for all it's worth and destroy myself in the process. I had full intentions of killing myself.
Oh, wow.
I fortunately was never able to succeed with that.
Good.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did, however, do some very stupid things and found myself in trouble with the law and was thrown in the county jail
Okay.
and was looking at 15 to 20 years in prison.
Wow. So you must have done something real stupid.
I did do something real stupid. I walked into a convenience store with a black nose hair trimmer in my hand, pretending that it was a weapon, and asked them to give me the cash in the register. When I was caught, which I was caught fairly quickly, I
Yeah.
confessed to everything,
Okay.
and which it was relieving. It was a weight off my shoulders, but it
Mm-hmm.
also gave the prosecuting attorney enough reason to throw the book at me.
Yes.
Um, so ultimately, I found myself in the county jail, detoxing from heroin.
With no
And
support there.
yeah, so I had alienated my father, my mother, my ex-wife, all my friends. So I'm in a cold cell. I was locked up on Halloween night of
Oh.
2012. Uh, and I remember in the town holding cell, I looked over and there was a picture of a girl on the wall, a before and after shot. And it showed her in her high school picture where she looked young and beautiful and full of life. And then it showed a picture of her 2 years later, um,
Um,
with ravaged from heroin. You know, her teeth
oh.
were falling out, her face was sagging and
Yeah.
hair thin, and it says, heroin does a body good. And I will never forget that. That was the last day I ever did a drug or a substance or had a cigarette, a drink. I have been clean ever since.
Woohoo.
Um, thanks. But had I not been thrown in that jail cell,
Mhm.
I don't think I would have found it on my own because I wasn't ready
Yeah.
for it. I didn't. I may have wanted it somewhere deep down, but I didn't want it enough to do anything about it.
Yeah.
And despite, all the help that friends and family tried to give me, the the detoxes, the rehabs, if you don't want that change and you're not willing to put every ounce of energy into
Yep.
actualizing that change, you're not going to get it because you can't find recovery in a pill or in a bottle, or you can't get it from me because I tell you it's great. You know,
Yeah.
you need to do it yourself. It's an inside job.
Yeah.
Um, my prison sentence was reduced because while I was in county jail, I actually found a sponsor in the
Okay.
Narcotics Anonymous program who actually really turned my life around.
Oh,
So,
good.
when it came time, like 18 months later, when I got before the judge and I stood up and told him what I'd been doing to try to make up for some of the mess I made,
Hmm.
he looked at me and he goes, look, I've been doing this a long time. I can tell when somebody's full of it and when somebody's telling the truth. He goes, I believe every word you said. He goes, unfortunately, I do have to sentence you to prison. And maybe while you're there, if you help one person, maybe this will all be worth it.
Yep.
Um, so I was sentenced to 10 years with having to do 8.5.
Okay.
But while I was there, the coronavirus hit.
I was just trying to do the math in my head because you're like
Yeah.
2012 and all that. Okay.
Yeah. So I was in the halfway house when that happened. And, we were actually known for one of the first deaths in the prison system
Oh.
in New Jersey. So we all caught it, and we all caught it quickly because we were living right on top of each other.
Yeah. Would have been
Um,
like wildfire, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
our governor actually mandated good credits for those who were close to being released. So I had an additional 6 months taken off my sentence and
Okay.
allowed to get out. Um, and since then, although I do still deal with an inferiority complex,
Hmm.
I I I say it's more of an imposter syndrome because I came out of the prison system with a new inspired goal to be an author and acclimate into this
So
field.
what made you want to be an author?
But you know, when I was a kid, I always wrote things. I wrote, like, I would go see a movie and I'm like, that needs a part two. And I'd write a script for a part two.
That's
Um,
awesome. I'd write the review for the movie.
really,
Yep.
that's probably a more uh, practical use of the talent.
Yeah, except when the only person reading it's your mom because you make her.
uh, that's about the same here.
Yeah.
So I always did that. And then when I was in, teens to the 20s, I was a songwriter and, I like to write the lyrics. Then when I was in prison, they offered the opportunity for guys to go to college.
Oh, cool.
So I signed up for that and I got my associate's degree. Um, and I met a couple really influential professors from Rutgers, New Jersey,
Okay.
Rutgers University, and I was like so determined to write. So I started writing stories while I was in there, and actually, several of my releases have been written, inside the prison cell.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, one that I'm, actually going to it's been nominated for an award this weekend.
Ooh.
Was one of the first ones I wrote in behind the wall, as we say.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did that, but now coming out, I've still got this. Life is controlled when you're in the system. You're
Yeah.
told what to do. You're told when to eat. You're told when to sleep. When you can go work out. When you can take a shower. Uh, and there's it's easy to take on that. It's easy to feel less than because the guards are definitely there to exert superiority over you
Mm,
and
yes.
dominance. So it's easy to become submissive and well, either submissive or completely rebellious. Uh,
Yeah, I could see that. Okay.
yeah, you're going to go either one or two ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I did what I was told, and I wanted to get in and out as quick as possible. But
Yep.
coming out now, I'm in author groups and I'm talking to people and who have not been through that walk of life. So I'm always like, oh, I'm pretty open about who I am and where I've been.
Yeah.
And I'm going to my first convention tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this is really something. It's Killer Con in Austin, Texas. This is going to
Ooh,
be the first
Killer Con. What is
plain.
that?
So Killer Con is a convention of authors in the horror community, and it's the ceremony of the Splatterpunk Awards.
That
Um,
is so cool. I love
so I'm up,
horror. All
I'm
things
up.
horror.
Oh, I love all things horror too, and always have. I'm up for best short story of the year.
Oh my goodness. What story
Yeah,
did you give me?
the same one,
Yes.
Abigail. Yes,
That's what I was hoping you were gonna say.
yes.
And actually, that's the one that I'm going to be starting. Well, I don't know if I'll read today or tomorrow, but that's my next one that I'm reading. I just finished my last book yesterday. So,
And you'll see that there's an underlying theme of violet or purple in there, as I see behind you the purple
love it.
Abigail. You'll see where violet falls into
Yeah,
play.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so but like I made a post yesterday on social media. I'm like, I'm going through it right now. Like I don't even know what I'm doing, with all these great names who are in this category with me.
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing here? Uh, what am I doing getting on a plane? Like I haven't made a trip anywhere without an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs on me in
Yeah.
over a decade. Uh, so there's a lot going on, and I got such support from the community
Good.
yesterday. Oh my gosh, like
Good.
a couple hundred people all reached out and they're like, you've got every right to be there. You are so helpful to others. You are a great
So
guy.
good.
And honestly, and I had two of my previous counselors from the halfway house actually reach out to me and say,
Oh,
you're no imposter, you put into work. And I'm like,
that's awesome.
yeah, the gentleman who helped me transition from prison inside, uh from I'm getting choked up, from
That's okay.
from college inside the prison to college outside. He texted me yesterday, and it just guys from high school are like, "Oh, you got it, man. Don't worry about a thing." And
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, and it helped. Um, you know, but that I'm not the only one who suffers with imposter syndrome.
Not at all. Actually, yesterday I was on the phone with them. So I'm in this business group with lots of different business people, not just authors, just business people. And I'm actually the president this year. And I definitely am suffering from some imposter syndrome in regards to this group. I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Is this like, do people even care what I'm saying? Am I doing what we're supposed to be doing? Am I making the group better? Right. And it's just like I often feel like I need to just quit because I'm not the one for this job. I need to quit, right? I can't do this. And so yesterday I was talking to the person from head office. So it is like a worldwide organization. And we're just the one little Niagara group. So I was talking to the guy from our area head office, and he goes, "No, you are doing a very good job." And he's reminding me of like, okay, your secretary treasurer left and you had to replace him. That's hard to do. You had to find a new location and start in-person meetings after 2 years of being on Zoom. That's hard to do. And he's just reminding me of all the things that he's like, it might not seem like a lot, but it's all these small little things took a lot of work. I'm like, oh, okay, I feel a little better. Maybe I'm okay. I can do this. But no, I totally get what you're saying. I don't get it all the time, but there's certain instances where I'm like, no, I think you guys have the wrong person. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and what I was getting from people, what they were saying yesterday is that, we all feel that. Like
Yeah.
there's, I don't know if even if I had a best-selling book, I think I'll always have something where I'm like feeling a little bit less uh than the guy standing next to me or the girl who's just had 10 number one bestsellers,
Right. Yeah.
But what I can say is that once I was removed from the substance, once the drugs and I were separated, and I was able to get my head around what was important to me and what I wanted for myself,
Mm-hmm.
life started getting exponentially better. Even though I was
Yay.
in jail or then in prison, like every day was better. Um,
Good.
I got back in touch with my feelings. I for so long I was separated from how I really felt about things because I was numbing it.
Yeah.
Um, and the anxiety is still there, or you still get sad, but
Yes. Oh yeah.
without that substance throwing up a wall between you and yourself, like, it's so much better. And now, like I really I love who I am, and I
Yay.
love my life. And I always like to be doing more. I'd love to have some success, uh,
Yep.
worldwide success in the field,
Me
but
too.
right? But I think we all do, and
Yeah.
we all strive for that. But you know, things are so much better. And this is after some serious counseling. Like I've
Yeah.
definitely, if you got something to talk about, you need to talk about it.
Yeah.
I done, I utilized every avenue I could while I was in the system to talk to
Good.
counselors. And then when I got out, I continued to go to therapy, and it
Good.
helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And now if I can give back in any way, by sharing my story or helping somebody who's going through something similar, I'm glad to do so.
Yeah.
That's
That's
that's the way it goes.
awesome. Absolutely amazing. Um, Unfortunately, I'm cutting us off.
Okay.
Um, but I definitely would love to have you come back on the show. We can keep chatting. Um, but this is kind of also the perfect ending, I feel like, because you're giving the best advice anyone can hear right now. And that is talk to somebody, right? It's a very ongoing theme on this show that it is talk to somebody. Because when we bottle it up, I like to think of a pop bottle. You have a pop bottle, and the lid is on it, and you shake it up. Eventually, you take that lid off, and what happens? Right? And that can be in different forms, right? That could be that you actually do have a big, yelling fit with somebody, usually the person you're most comfortable with, so usually a spouse or a parent. It could be that this is, now a drug addiction or alcoholism or attempted to hurt yourself, right? And that explosion comes in different forms, but that is why we need to take the lid off before we shake the bottle. And then, I mean, don't shake the bottle off, the lid's off because you're just making a mess. But because now my brain is, picturing this bottle being shaken without the lid. But that is, yeah, that's absolutely amazing advice. To leave the audience with, I think, is that talking to people. So before we actually say goodbye, what have you written? Where do we find it? I'm excited to read my book, especially knowing that it's up for a prize.
Well, you know what? I have several books out. Abigail is the first release of mine. It's a novelette, actually clocking in at 60 pages. Um, this is a jam-packed 60 pages that's going to leave you with an impression, because I will just say, don't judge a book by its cover. Now, you look at Abigail, and there is a crib with a black light behind it, and it looks very ominous, but there's a message to be had in this story, and it's not, it's definitely not what you expect.
Cool.
We're going down to Austin because we've been nominated. Competition's very steep, but nomination is great to have. So
A
that's
nomination
that's
is half the
fantastic.
battle. Like that's huge.
Yeah. I also have a couple other books. I have a book called Piece by Piece, which
Okay.
is something that happened to me as a child, that I wrote about the experience. I have Drawn and Quartered, which I wrote with author Diana Olney, and I have a book called Hacked in Two, which I wrote
Oh,
with author James G. Carlson. You can find all of these on Amazon, under Daemon Manx, DaemonManx. Also, you could go to my website, which is www.daemonmanx.com. And I also own my own publishing company, so you could go there to Last Waltz Publishing at www.lastwaltzpublishing.com. And
woohoo.
all of my titles are available there. They're available on Amazon. And we're about to make the jump into Barnes and Noble. So you'll be
Nice.
able to see us, search the name out. It's pretty unique name. You'll be able to find it pretty
Yeah.
easily. Yeah.
Excellent. And where do people follow you? Are you on social media?
Yeah. I was gonna go there. I am on Facebook, Daemon Manx. I am on Twitter at Daemon Manx. I am on Instagram at Daemon Manx, and I've got some very cool pictures of the wildlife and my animals on TikTok.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, I got a lot of
I love TikTok. My animals have their own TikTok.
do they?
They do.
Really? I'm gonna
Yes.
have to check it
Yes.
out.
So I love TikTok. I have so many TikToks. So my animals have their own TikTok. I have 4 cats and 3 dogs.
Excellent.
So there is a lot of cuteness going on. Um, They are the most popular TikTok I have.
Of course.
Right?
Everybody
I
loves the
know.
animals. Yeah.
So that for anybody who wants to see adorable animals, that is at Fred Daff and the gang. So Fred, but in Daff is Daph because her name is actually Daphne. So Fred Daff and the gang. I know a super long name, but it's cute.
Memorable though.
Exactly. And of course, Ride or Die Show has a TikTok, and then I have one that I usually make fun of my husband on. It's just Randy having fun. And then my kid has a TikTok for his business now, at acceptingyou.business.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so
I'm gonna have to go check that out. I love
love
all
TikTok.
animal videos. Mine is a little wildlife. So I have a baby deer running around in my backyard. I've got fox, giant snapping turtles laying eggs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I go on morning walks, and recently I've been finding robins tangled in fishing lines. So I've been
Oh,
saving robins. There's a couple of me taking the fishing line off of the robins and setting them free, and they don't stay and thank me. They're off. They're like, I'm a TikTok star now. Who needs you?
exactly. They're just like, I know
Like,
occasionally my aunt will send me pictures of her cat, so sometimes I have the guest star Autumn on the show.
excellent.
And she's cute. Whenever I talk to my aunt and she's like, oh, Autumn's bugging me, I'm like, don't say that about my Autumn. Like, that's my Autumn.
She's an influencer. You have no reason to talk to her like that.
Exactly, right? She's so cute and fluffy. Excellent. So yeah, all of those links, they're going to be down in the description below. So be sure everybody check them out. I'm also going to be posting my book review. It might actually probably be out before this episode. So go on over to my website, of course, rbwriting.ca, and check out the blog. It's going to have the book review for Abigail on there. And I'll post it on Amazon and stuff for you too. But
Thank you.
Go to my website, guys.
Absolutely.
And thank you again so much for being on the show. And feel free to come back and tell us what happened at the prize, and just let's celebrate the victory of even being nominated. Of course.
That's it. Thank you for having me. And once again, it's always helpful to talk about these things. And every time I get to share this, it reaffirms my strength and where I want to be. So,
Oh, good.
thank you so much. I had so much fun.
You're so welcome. So again, thank you, Daemon, for being on the show. I'm going to have him come back on the show at some point so we can really dig into the imposter syndrome that we just barely scratched the surface of. Be sure to check out his links down in the description below. And of course, head on over to my website so you can see the review for Abigail. If you'd rather listen to it, then check out my other podcast, What I'm Reading. That's what it's called, guys. What I'm Reading. And you'll hear me quickly give you a nice few minutes of a review of it. So nice, easy way to get it. And like and subscribe to that too. Follow. If you want to support the Ride or Die Show, check out our merch store. 10% of the proceeds goes back to the Canadian Mental Health Association. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly.